What is up? What is up, guys? This is early morning live number 2. I am glad to see y'all here. The ones that are here, hopefully more people will pile in. I apologize. I tell you what, to be such a professional host, I sure do. I sure do screw up a lot. When I set the live, I set it for tomorrow, like a dummy, and didn't realize that until I went to go live. Which the post did say that I put up last night did say I was going live this morning. So hopefully enough people saw that and will get the notification that I'm live. They'll start piling in here in a few minutes. I am so sorry. I will try to do better. To be such a professional as I am, I got to do better on that. So anyway, hopefully people will pile in. So. All right, guys, I got kind of a hard stop. I went a little bit longer than I should have yesterday, so I've got an appointment later, and so I'm going to jump right into it. We will continue right where we left off, and we'll have a good time. We'll learn something and make fun of Gary a lot. So anyway, does that sound like a plan, guys? I think it sounds like a plan to me. All right, fire in the hole.
Break from yelling at each other. No, unfortunately, that's the answer to the thumbnail title. Thanks, Dr. Altoid.
So he's basically saying Charlie did not fake his death.
That's correct. That's what he's saying.
And I would agree.
I hear that. I think people have done, and here's what I'll say. Genghis Khan, I think, is on X. He was a former sniper. He sort of made some points about how when you're doing psychological operations.
Here they come. They're starting to dribble in here. Hey, there's another one. Awesome. Me too. If it allows you and others to catch it, and of course doesn't put all the other regulars in too much of a bind, we may just stick with this. So, hey, thank y'all for showing up. I apologize for the wrong date on the YouTube thumbnail, but anyway, hopefully it'll work out and everybody will be here.
You can create, little traps. You can create all sorts of different parts of this, and was leveraging his own expertise to do that as well. There's another woman, Morgan C. 000, also on X, who calls herself a forensic media person, digital forensics, I think, basically was looking at the response, looking at the narrative control, looking at the different things that were going out, in order to make her case on why it was not. There was also Kelly, who I think is working with Jordan right now. They were talking about, and they go into have spaces that where Hollywood people are sort of talking about it, who are professional and able to have experience kind of doing these things, have also simulated these things to whatever degree. And so at that point, what you're wondering is, how can you sort of cover that up and make it seem.
What it makes me wonder is all these people creating nonsense, and they say they've simulated this stuff. I've never seen any of this stuff. What I also wonder is, these are people that in a social media environment want to see get views, and there is over 8 times views. If I sit there and have a podcast like this, or where I'm talking about the actual facts, you will get 8 times more views according to AI, and you can take that for what it's worth. If you go with
which AI specifically is that, Grok?
Conspiracy theory stuff, you will get 8 times more views than you will just talking about the facts of the case. But real quick, I just want to pause.
Maybe it's not because you are actually given the facts of the case. Maybe it's because people have become very weary of being lied to, and since you're just pushing the straight Fed slop narrative, the official narrative, and want to literally attack anybody that has any questions, maybe that's why. Maybe because you're attacking the part of your audience that has questions, and maybe because you're attacking others, huge audiences such as Candace Owens, Baron Coleman, and so on and so forth. Maybe that is why you get 8 times more views. Maybe it's because people see through the bullshit.
Real quick,
how much did USA get?
What's that?
Hey, Crystal, awesome, you're here. I was afraid I screwed it up and you wasn't going to make it because when I did my YouTube thumbnail, I put the wrong date on there. So I'm glad I told you this morning and glad to see you in there.
I was just pointing out TPUSA, I think, got
They get a lot less than they used to.
What's that?
I said they get a lot less than they used to when Charlie Kirk was alive.
A lot less clicks, a lot less money, a lot less.
I don't think.
And I wonder why that is. Could it possibly be because Turning Point USA was Charlie Kirk, for one, and for two, people followed him for a reason. A lot of people, obviously, a lot of people trusted him, and with good reason. And, even though a lot of people, I'm sure, disagreed with him on certain things, overall, they agreed with a lot of the stances he took. He stood on principle, regardless of what he wasn't audience captured. But people knew that whatever he said that he believed and he stood behind, and obviously was open to, changing, like he did on the Philly situation. I mean, obviously the man was open into changing his mind. That being said, I think most people realized he was a good faith actor, and that I feel like his main mission was about the people. And what we've got now is just a huge grift, and it is plain for everybody to see. There's nobody questions that hardly anymore, except for your Gary Meltons of the world. Your Gary Meltons, your Jay Witch, the list goes on and on. Graham Allen, we could go through that list for days. But that's why the clicks are suffering so bad on Charlie Kirk. And look, and besides that, the Charlie Kirk show, 7-8 months after he has sadly passed, it's still the Charlie Kirk show, and has his name in five different places on the screen. I mean, yeah, if you want to have a picture, in the background of him, absolutely, that's great, in memory of. And you know what? If you want to use his name in the title, use it. Call it the In Memory of Charlie Kirk podcast, something. But just by all appearances, right off the bat, it appears that you're trying to grift off of his name. I'd say I could rephrase that, not it appears that, but basically you are grifting off of his name. And not a lot of people appreciate that. And I think it's time to change the name. And I think it's time to change or take his name off of the screen in like 5 different places. Are you afraid that if the banner says Andrew Colvett and Blake Neff, that it might not get quite as many views? I don't know how far even the name Charlie Kirk could go in getting Andrew Colvett and Blake Neff views. But yeah, are y'all afraid that if y'all change the name and put y'all's on there that that'll be the end? I don't know.
I would challenge the money thing. They're doing pretty good on that. I don't know what the exact, analytics of that all are, and I'd be speculating if I said anything else. But let me get through these real quick so you and I can get back to our conversation.
Just to the point where you said it was nonsense, I would just invite you to be a little bit more open and ask the question, how would you
invite you to be a little more open? Wow. No, he's not going to accept that invitation. Oh, that's great. Invite you to be a little more open. I hadn't heard anybody phrase it directly to Gary like that. That's pretty good. That felt very sincere.
Do this if you
for all the good it done.
Could I think this goes back to the, what would a professional psyop actually look like?
I will answer that. In detail if you'd like.
Awesome. I was just to point out that
because I'm a Green Beret, I know everything about freaking everything.
To say it's nonsensical, I think is.
Don't get me wrong, Gary. I appreciate your service. I respect you for your service. I respect anybody that wore the uniform. But at the end of the day, you have to realize that just because you were in the military and you were in special operations, you were a Green Beret, that still doesn't mean you know everything about everything and you can't be wrong. Like I said, thank you for your service. I really respect you for your service.
Running very close to a ad hominem And so there's,
We'll agree to disagree on that point, but I will talk about how I would do this if I was going to do this. Jack Sparrow says, Gary, keep up the great work. 160th in the house. Glad you.
He's done a lot of agree to disagree so far from the beginning of this, and a little more than normal. I mean, kudos to this guy. And hey, look here. I was going to do it separate from this, but I'll just go ahead and do it now. Big announcement. I have talked to this gentleman here. Talked to him yesterday, reached out to him. He got right back with me and asked him if he would come on the show, and he said gladly. So we are working on setting that up, but we are going to do a show here in the very near future. I thought about calling it something to the effect of Debates for Dummies, and show people how to actually debate the issue and beat them with their own shit. Take the court documents and tear them apart. And obviously there's a lot of other points that could be made, but you got to start there. If you start there and establish that they are full of shit, that narrative is bunk, it's no good, then maybe then you go on to some of the other stuff. But regardless, I wanted to let y'all know that. Be looking for that very soon. We will be doing a show here in the very near future. I'm excited. Hope everybody else is too.
Guys are still badass. The amount of energy on film transferred through his body should dispel the BS on the spot, not alive.
Yeah. So we're basing that on.
We're gonna read these things, and you and I have already kind of litigated that. So let's just
use frames of cavitation, right? That's what we're saying.
Sure. Eco, have you read all the documents that have been released?
I will say that Andrea Burkhart's archive on Substack has been a goldmine. I have read everything with the exception of the 258.
Obviously, he's read more of the documents than Gary has, though. I hate to say that's been pretty apparent since we started this
page monster that I assume kind of says the same thing over and over and over. I think also either the prosecution might have had a 78-page document also at about the same time. Those came out in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I think. But other than that, I have read all of those. The only one I hadn't read up until recently was the, I guess, unredacted, or maybe it's not unredacted.
Hey guys, we are going to work on trimming it down, especially if we're going to do it in the mornings, because I do have to go to work after the fact. So I see your comment there, Licit, and I'm with you on that. We might do some longer weekend streams, maybe in the evenings or something. Possibly we'll look at doing all that, but yeah, absolutely. And Crystal. Point well taken. I'll give you a holler here in a little bit. I kind of wanted to talk to you about that anyway, since I don't know. I figured you'd be a good one to talk to about that. So anyway, we'll. Hey Boomer, good morning. But yeah, I definitely want to work on the time and try to not only accommodate everybody, but also I don't want to step on anybody's toes, for one, but for two. When you take into account the size of this channel versus the size of, say, a Coach Colin, I'm not really going to hurt him, but going live at the same time he's live doesn't help me for sure. So, yeah, something we got to look at. This is the second show at this time, just an experiment. We're playing around with the times. So, anyway, let's get back to it.
But it is the
unredacted motion to exclude cameras?
No, I read that. It was the search warrant that I think just got posted on something else, which I don't even think that's part of the docket, or I would have read it. But I don't know how that was gotten, but I thought that they were trying to get a warrant on Lance Twiggs's email, which I thought was confusing, since Tyler Robinson would be the person who was.
I'll pull that up. We can explore that to see what specifics they give on that, because I'm not 100% clear if that was just his, or they were requesting through Apple both of their electronic transfers. Starting Gary, a beer fun. Thank you very much, Anna.
Gary, what's your favorite beer? You want to plug it?
What I did want to plug real quick. Number one, if you guys want to follow Eco, make sure I believe we have his links down in the description, so go follow him. But one thing that I did want to highlight is that you and I just agree on something, and that is Andrea Burkhart. Folks, if you're not following her on X, she's awesome. She has a complete depository of all the documents that are coming out on her Substack. So any of these documents, please go read them. It's worth it. There's some that are, as Eco pointed out, are better than others, but she's been an amazing source for this information, and she pays for those. She pays a significant.
I tell you what, guys. Obviously, from now or from time to time, there are some really good chats. But let's blow through the super chats and get back to the meat and taters, as we say down here in good old Middle Tennessee, God's country.
Yeah, I mean, there's confusion in the space. That doesn't mean that the information is manufactured, created, or anything else.
So just to kind of say, like, this was not an official. This picture was not officially given to the FBI. Sorry, given to the New York Post by the ATF or FBI. We
don't know that.
See, was obtained by the New York Post. The bolt action rifle recovered near the scene of where Kirk was shot. Right. So again, we've got passive tense. We have, you would be forgiven, and it could even be plausible to say that it's obvious that this is the gun, but that is not said outright, and so you are making that conjecture and that leap of faith and conclusion.
No,
does that make sense?
Awful lot of conjecture and an awful lot of leaps of faith come from that side. Leaps of faith.
But that's also if you just kind of
and they accuse us of not believing the facts and going with the facts. Like, what the hell?
Analyze that language. It's not definitive, right? And so because there's wiggle room, and there's this for, again, like all of these pieces in here, we don't have the specific.
Hold on, listen. There's going to be a ton of wiggle.
Crystal, I'm going to bug you as long as you'll allow me to do it. Tell me to screw off whenever you get ready, but I want to talk to you about that too. So seemed like you pretty knowledgeable on that whole issue. So I'm definitely going to holler at you here in a little bit, maybe get some pointers from you, because I'm definitely new at this, and yeah, I know I definitely need to be doing a lot more, but yeah, we'll talk later on that if that's cool.
Room and every bit of information that comes out about a criminal case prior to the trial, because they're not there. They're not there. But what I will say is we have so much information. That
I disagree. Any information you compile, and that has been compiled, you can do what we just did with that on anything, and that's frustrating. And it's like, you can get called a conspiracy.
If you just reject common sense and basic logic.
It's not common sense.
No, it's not rejecting common sense. It's actually using a little bit of common sense. I mean, good Lord, he's taken apart every single. I mean, he's taken apart the official documents every step of the way so far, and so that's going to continue. And if I remember correctly, it gets better. So,
it's not
if you're operating under the idea that
it's an appeal to authority, and it's faith in and belief in the fact that there's something behind the claims.
Hold on, Eco. If I say, look, if I jump up, I'm going to come down. You're like, you don't really know that. Like that's appeal to authority. That's appeal to authority. 99.999 times I come down. And when you have a document right here that outlines the evidence, and they're going to have to show the evidence, there's real evidence behind it.
There are ways in which they don't have to show any of that evidence.
But what's that?
Gary, there are ways in which they don't have to show any of that evidence.
There are ways that they don't have to show. So in a trial, they're going to have to show that. Now, if he
not in a preliminary trial, and it's unclear whether we're going to go to a trial.
Oh, they're going to go to a trial.
He seems awful confident. I'm going to say right now it does not go to a trial. I've already said it once, said it probably, well, I know I've said it way more than once, but I'm going to say it again right here. I hope to be wrong, but I don't think it makes it to trial. Either A, they will convince him to plea it down, and then of course in that case, no trial. All the evidence goes bye-bye, and they never address it again. Or, and this is the worst, this would be the worst outcome for sure, we get news one day that he has Epsteined himself. And that, like I said, that would definitely be the worst of those two scenarios. But I'm confident, more than likely, one of those two is going to be what happens. And in either case, they can just lock it down and never bring it up again.
Almost for sure. Almost for sure.
Well, Steve Bannon,
they may plea. I hope they don't, but they may plea. All right. Let's move on.
Exactly. And what do you think the likelihood is that they will plea? Do you think it's 98% that they'll plea? Do you think
I don't think the prosecution is going to offer a plea.
even though I think they've said that the case is potentially bankrupting the county because of how much.
I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that, and I don't think that they're going to.
Not bankrupt the county, but like, you know, it's millions at this point.
Is right now, there's no indication that they're going to offer a plea deal, even if the defense asks for one, because I think they know that they have for a death sentence, and I think that's going to happen. But let me get through these because we're getting way distracted.
And the death penalty was about the aggravating circumstances which are under dispute, which can potentially be used to not do a death penalty. But also, if they do plead, because of the circumstantial evidence, including hearsay from the parents and the roommate, then that hearsay, along with the reports that the feds have put together and some social media posts that we've all already seen, will be enough to, I guess, justify the defense taking a plea, and therefore we don't see any of this.
And, you know, if you just look at it from this standpoint, I mean, unless they are just absolutely 100% convinced that they can get an acquittal, which honestly, I believe if it goes to trial, he would be acquitted, or at least there's a really good chance of that. But unless they were 100% confident, there's two caveats. You know, either they're really, really confident, or they're in on this whole thing and they're not truly working in his best interest. Either one of those two. It would make more sense for them to plea it down. And I don't know what's on the table, but it would make more sense for them to at least plea it down to where they lose the death penalty. That way, whatever happens, you know, he's not sitting on death row. So, I mean, that death penalty, I feel like, if nothing else, they put that death penalty on there as a really, really good, effective bargaining chip. So that's why I am really concerned that it will get pled down. And like I said, either that or the whole Epstein, and we don't want that to happen either.
So that would be the way in which we don't see any evidence that's being claimed.
All right, Ego, I'm going to zip through these. You're killing me, bro. You're killing me. We're spending too much time on these other things, so we can't get to other things that are more important potentially. Anyone who thinks Charlie would make his family suffer like that never followed Charlie plus TPUSA, was too important to abandon. Plus, he wasn't a coward.
Didn't say he was a coward.
There was no question there. I hear you. I know. We all know.
There was an assertion that can be contested.
Everybody's opinion. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to accept it. It's not a fact. It's an opinion.
Granddaddy. Here comes an ad hominem. All right.
Granddaddy always said you can't fix stupid. At some point, do we stop trying? Gary, Eco probably can't be fixed.
Good Lordy, the chats. Okay. I thought I was past them. We'll see if we're past them now.
Trial, and the only thing that we're looking at is FBI reports, the roommate and the parents' testimony, and some social media videos. I don't think that is especially persuasive based on all things.
The answer is it depends. It depends on what.
Yeah, exactly. It depends. And if they were to show, for instance, the engraved bullets, I think that would at least, address some of these things. I think if they showed those, the actual, the autopsy, for instance, that had a person's name signed to it and they were, questioned, that would go some way to address this. And so I've said, I am sort of in between the fake death theory and a modified version of the official story. Those are the sort of two leading theories that I think.
But either way, the official version, how do words work? But either way, the official version is bullshit, regardless. I believe that's what he's trying to say.
I think have weight. I don't necessarily think it's a bomb. I don't necessarily think it's from the crowd. At least I'm not persuaded of anything. And I've come to this theory after sort of really looking in good faith at all the other theories. That includes the sort of Fed slop theory, which I say that with jest. Hey,
real quick, just so you know, and I didn't know this, I thought it was a Remington that Martin Luther King was shot with, and it was indeed a Remington Model 760 Game Master 30-06, just so we know that. Listen, here's what I'm going to do real quick. I'm going to go use the bathroom. You keep telling everybody, matter of fact, let's just pull up the next question and maybe
What's up, brutally honest? Good to see you in the chat. Hopefully you can be here more. We're playing with the times to try to better accommodate everybody. So good to see you in the chat.
You can address that while I'm using the bathroom.
I'll go through some of these other ones too. Damn, there's a lot of comments here.
There you go. Yeah, there's
Starred 112. Awesome. All right, all the three-letter agencies, Mossad, KGB, according to ECO, should be looking for their next best agent.
Okay, I know that we get past these sooner or later, so hold on. Hold, please.
If it can be proved that, let me double check here really quick.
Well, we've been going for 3 hours, Eco. I'm gonna give you the last word here. What do you want people to know? Yeah. Final thoughts.
Sure. It is, this is obviously a traumatic event. This was meant to be, I think, a traumatic event, and the response to it did not make it any less traumatic. I think that what this seems to be is a coordination between a school, an organization like TPUSA, specific agencies that are being directed by the president, possibly with foreign collaboration. And
how many people do you think are involved in this?
It depends what you mean by involvement.
Exactly. There are so many different ways for people to be involved in something. One of the arguments we hear all the time is all these alternate theories, they can't be real. For one, it would take so many different people to be involved. You could never be sure that, everybody would be quiet. Somebody would eventually talk, blah, 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 blah. But, one thing that a lot of people don't consider, either that or, there's also that chance that they're being dishonest, which, is probably a pretty high chance. But regardless, one thing that a lot of people don't take into consideration is compartmentalization. Ooh, I'm proud of myself. I got it out. But you can have somebody involved and play a part and not realize what the bigger picture is, what their part is, what the bigger puzzle is. I'm sorry, I'm totally not good with words this morning. They're just one puzzle piece, and they may not realize what the full picture is. They may not realize exactly what they're doing, but they just have one. And look, we're going to get into this too one of these days, probably in the near future with this Artemis mission. Look at the whole moon landing. I'm not going to say either way. We'll go into all that later, but a lot of people are convinced the moon landing never happened. And you know how many thousands, tens of thousands of people had to be involved in this, but yet you don't get all these people coming forward, saying, hey, yeah, we faked it. That's because everything's compartmentalized. People play their part, not knowing what their part actually contributes to as far as the bigger picture. This happens a lot. The military is... And of course, we tend to believe that there's a lot of military involvement, but the military is known for this. They're the best at it. You have your chain of command, and everybody does what they're told, whether they know exactly what the big picture, big plan is or not. So, sorry to get a little wordy there, but I think people need to really consider that, because that is an argument that works on a lot of people. When you say, think about how many people would have had to have been involved, and how could you keep that many people quiet and know that they wouldn't talk? Well, because they were involved, but they did not know what part they were playing in the bigger picture.
That would know, would
know Charlie Kirk was dead.
Involved, would know the truth. Let's say that Charlie Kirk's still alive, but we can lump in all the other conspiracies too.
Yeah,
that this evidence is faked.
Yeah, I think the people who would know it are...
What's up, Rod? I see you there in the chat. Good to have you here. I just love the fact that I'm seeing more and more names in the chat. we're playing with the times, trying to get it where everybody can make it. And I hope to see you in here time after time. And yes, sorry, I lost your chat. I was reading it and then I lost it. Yeah, that's kind of interesting, isn't it?
Charlie, the people who carried Charlie to the car, which includes the Wairefi, dude, as well as the TPU.
They carried him like a piece of meat. Anybody thinks that the way they carried him showed any kind of concern, or, I mean, obviously, yeah, he had a big hole in his neck. So, I mean, but like they literally just picked him up and carried him out of there like a piece of meat. I mean, him flopping. And then when they went to put him in the car, I mean, like instead of somebody getting on the other side, raising up, pulling it, helping him pull him through, they literally shove him in there, and then they're just sitting there shoving to try to get the door closed. So that in and of itself to me was just disgusting and suspicious, to say the least.
USA security team. I think that the people in the hospital, I'm not sure how many people that would be. It could be whoever was doing the sort of surgery. Okay. I think Frank Turek would be in the car, so he probably would be aware.
For anybody in the car, I think it was reasonable to say that.
I think, it could be, maybe 3 people in the hospital. I think, whoever drove him to the...
I don't think they addressed this, but I wanted to point this out. We'll have to have a little more hard evidence of this fact, but it kind of seems like this is the case. But speaking of the hospital, kind of strange that we're told that the FBI seized all the camera footage. What does that mean? I mean, I've looked into quite a bit of these top cases and situations, and I don't think I ever remember that happening. What kind of... They generally seize any kind of videotape that could be used as evidence. What at the hospital would have any evidentiary value? To me, it had more value as to cover up what exactly happened there, how it happened. There was probably a whole lot more very plain, visible proof of the injuries and what was done and what wasn't done. The standard of care that he received or did not receive. Who knows? We weren't there and we don't have any footage. Be nice if someday somebody at the FBI would grow a conscience and leak some of that out. But there's no hospital footage ever mentioned in any of the court documents that I've seen, and you would think that the defense would want that if they could get that, at least when it comes to proving maybe what type of injury. I don't know. They haven't really addressed the kind of injury. I just wanted to bring that up when he was mentioning the hospital, though. It's strange that the video surveillance from the hospital disappeared.
The medical examiner car took him to the next place. So there's that. I think JD Vance was the person who flew him, on Air Force Two. I think his wife Erica was sort of crying over the.
Oh, we don't have any evidence that they actually flew Charlie Kirk to Air Force Two. All we saw was a coffin.
That's true. That is absolutely true, Gary. I love that you're starting to think critically.
I'm so proud. It makes me want to squeeze a little tear out.
Have Nate on and you two can battle it out. But you're right. We did not see that body. We saw some hands. I think we saw a body and a shirt. And it was cut before we saw what, JD Vance was doing. So there's that. I think Donald Trump is probably involved. He was the first person who announced Charlie Kirk was dead, I believe, as well as that they got the person. I think it's probably the case that Bongino and Cash had a hand in it. Mm-hmm. It's probably, I'm not sure about Cox. You would think that the process...
Why do you think they're so damn sensitive whenever anybody brings it up, or especially when they criticize the FBI in their role or question it? especially Bongino. But my God, he's had so many crash outs and meltdowns since he's come back. Seems like a guilty conscience to me. Could be wrong, allegedly, but yeah, I'd say there's a good chance they at least knew what was going on, if not had direct involvement.
Prosecution would. There are ways in which you could get the prosecution to not know, but I think that would be difficult. And I think the defense could possibly get away with not knowing, but it sort of depends on what Tyler says. Beyond that, maybe the ATF, maybe a person or two in the ATF, but you could potentially direct people who don't know.
FBI forensics, SBI forensics, because
yeah, I think they would be. I think they would be involved in that, and then and then people who can sort of stretch their minds to come up with a theory that explains it, and then believe it would be the other people who are sort of don't know for certain, but are leaning that direction. And again, like I said, I think it has. It is a thought experiment, but that's how some of this stuff is proved over, decades. Somebody comes up with a thought experiment, and then later on, evidence comes out that proves it, or at least makes it consistent with that theory. Those theories change a little bit, but any theory that can withstand the attempts at falsifying it will hold up. It is true that fake death is hard to falsify, but part of the argument for fake death is that the evidence seems to be.
You talked about UVU. I mean, I guess we're talking about UVU and the LDS.
Just the fact that that the head of a foreign state would come out and even acknowledge and or address these quote unquote allegations. I mean, that at that time, I don't believe anyway. I don't believe we're just all over the place. That's one reason why I feel it's even more suspicious. I mean, now obviously, if you get on X, there's lots of that talk going on. But in those early hours, for him to come out and even acknowledge the conspiracy and to address it like that, leads you to believe that maybe he was afraid it was going to carry some weight for whatever reason. Obviously, he didn't think those were going to just die out because there was no there. So he felt the need to address it. Just that fact alone says a lot to me. Like if there was absolutely nothing there or no reason for anybody, no real reason for anybody to believe that, why even address it? I mean, you're the head of a whole nother foreign state. Why are you addressing conspiracies here?
If the LDS have control over state and local police, obviously all of those people would have to be in on this as well, right?
I don't think so. I think you can basically get away with sending everybody to campus and just like look for things. And it might be the case that there's a couple people, and again, it's unclear what
the connection that you were making earlier to UVU is actually irrelevant.
Well, it would be the UVU. So UVU, would probably know if, although unclear, it might be one or two people in UVU know, maybe Jeff Long and the assistant president. But again, I don't know for sure. So they can, prove it in different ways. But I think there are ways in which you can discredit the argument that the charging documents are bullshit by proving that they're not bullshit, which would undermine one of the premises of fake death. So I look forward to
somebody, anybody, Gary, step up, take on the challenge, anybody, to prove that those documents are legit. I mean, when you have that many inconsistencies from one document to the other, all these questions with no real good answers. All I can say is they better be planning on, they better have a good case to tie up all those loose ends in court. Otherwise, I'm telling you, quittle. So somebody, come on, prove the case. Don't just wave those papers around and say, here's the evidence. I've got the evidence. We've got the evidence. Y'all are just full of conspiracies. We've got the evidence. This is the evidence. No, motherfucker, it's not the evidence. It's a list of the evidence that they allegedly have. And then the question is, do they in fact have everything on there that they say they have? And the evidence that they do have, if they have all of that, how good is that evidence? How is it collected? Any forensic analysis? So many ways to discredit each and every one of those particular items or what have you. That piece of paper is not evidence of shit. Sorry, Gary.
Them doing that, if they can. If they can't do it, it would be predicted that they can't do it by a fake death theory, in which case, if they don't do certain things in that courtroom, it's more likely, and it would be consistent, that it's because there are certain things that are fake.
Fair enough. Janice, I know I was being sarcastic earlier. I was joking around, taking some heat off of Eco. Well, listen, folks. Number one, Eco, thank you for coming on. Hopefully, you feel like I don't know where that one came from because we did it earlier.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily. I mean, we could go back to that if you want, but if you don't want that,
well, I don't even know. Maybe Jen.
And I think Governor Cox appointed the judge on the one hand, was reading some of the charging document on the other hand, not knowing, the facts and the sources for some of that. And so that,
trust me, Governor Cox did that case no favors whatsoever.
might have been how he got in trouble with the explanation that he was sort of forced to answer without actually knowing.
I mean, Governor Cox said the dude changed clothes like 6 times or what have you. I mean, come on. And I believe he is where the story of Tyler taking the gun back apart before he descended from his sniper's nest. I think he's where that story came from. I don't think ever officially anybody stated, and I know not in any of the documents did it state that he disassembled the gun before he got off the roof. So anyway, yeah, Cox did not help the Fed case at all.
And so that also became a source of confusion that became, explained away, and also made him be considered a problem. I think also Charlie Kirk was sort of not speaking too highly of him, and anyway, there's and I'm sure he's Mormon as well. So
fair enough. I think Jen threw this one up there. It came out of nowhere. I clicked out. I think I missed it. But Anna Osley says, if you think Charlie faked his death because Israel offered him money he refused to take, wouldn't it have been easier just to take the money? All this speculation is ridiculous.
Well, somebody said Charlie had too much integrity to do certain things, so he might have had too much integrity to take money. But
would have enough lack of integrity to fake his death in front of millions of people ultimately.
Well, if you,
and that's my ultimate stance on that particular part of it, that on the whole he faked his death. I don't feel like he would have done that to I don't think he would have done that to everybody. It's not a very Christian thing to do. And then I mean, what about close family members? Everybody can't know that if he indeed did fake his death. Everybody around him can't know. I mean, you could never trust that to work. So the fact that he would do that to me I just don't see it.
You are doing that for your country, or you're doing that for another country that you.
Not to mention, he's not that good of an actor. Like I said on yesterday's show, he'd have to be the very best actor in the world, and I don't think anybody can act that good. As bad as it sucks, and as much as I hate it, that was a lifeless body.
You believe strongly in, or you are doing it for God and Christianity because the demonic, groups of the demonic leftists are taking over. It's there are there are ways, and it's also an op, but you have to like clean the books because you're not necessarily in charge of that op, but you're a player in that, and now the op is over, and you've got to, you know, make your exit plan, and have Erica sort of come in here. Again, there are explanations you can come up with to do the facts, and then based on how those hypotheses get falsified and whether they can stand up, and how well they can explain any new evidence or predict any, I guess, future events, that would help to bolster the claims made by any given theory.
I mean, Gary himself has even, I'm not going to say that he has directly discredited the documents, but he has made the point that there can be fallacies and inconsistencies in these documents that he keeps waving around over his head, and that is the point of the trial, which is indeed the case. So that alone should tell you that you can't take what those documents say as fact, as gospel truth, because everything alleged in those documents then is going to be scrutinized and argued in court if it makes it to trial. And then we see just how good and solid all this evidence they supposedly have, you know, actually is. And it is just my opinion, allegedly, that if there is a trial, and a real trial, and he does have a real defense, that anything that they have there is going to be picked apart piece by piece by the defense. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what all else they have. If they cannot directly tie the gun to him and not just, oh, he owned it and it's got his DNA on it. Well, no shit, he owned it. It's going to have his DNA on it. They have ways of actually proving out whether this person took that shot or not. People steal guns and kill people with them all the time. So just because it's got his DNA on it is not enough to prove that he committed this crime. And they're going to have to prove that out. Otherwise, like I said, like Lionel says, he's going to walk. And so far, it appears by what's publicly available, they have not proved that out at all. Like I said, I don't give a shit whether it's got his DNA on it or not, knowing that he owned it. And I don't think a jury will either.
Eco, have you ever been on a jury?
I was invited to jury duty, but did not make it onto a jury.
Gotcha. All right, listen, folks, we really appreciate you tuning in. Eco, it's been you took us on a roller coaster ride. So I appreciate that. I really do. And I appreciate you. And, again, I think you're a sincere guy. I think we disagree on, well, everything, but that's okay. And I think if nothing else, hopefully you felt like I treated you with respect. I appreciate.
They may disagree on everything, but how many times did he just say, okay, I'll give you that? So even if he didn't agree, he admitted that he had no rebuttal. He had no argument to prove it out. So he can say he disagrees all he wants just to, stick with the official narrative and the Turning Point USA, talking points. And he can say that all he wants, but this man got him in a corner and got him, for once in his life, speechless several times. So, yeah. You disagree on everything, Gary?
Appreciate the chat for generally treating him with respect and keeping it, overall pretty light. I know there was a few jabs in there, but most importantly, if nothing else, hopefully we're a good example that we can have two guys that completely disagree on this without attacking each other, without calling each other's names, without questioning, attacking their motivations or whatever else. I do think that you are looking for the truth. We just disagree about how to go about that. So anyway.
Yes, Gary, same here. It's time to get me on there. If you happen to see this, it's time to get me on there. Like you said, you asked me to send you a list of topics. I sent you a list of topics. I emailed it, and I DM'd you on X. So come on, buddy. Reach back out. That's all I want to do. I just want to have a conversation. I definitely don't care anything about having a screaming match or trying to talk over anybody. So let's get it done. Get me on there, and let's get this done.
Thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
Can I ask one last question? And I think this will, otherwise Blake won't forgive me. Question is, if he is, and I don't, you sort of flew drones in that area, I think. I think there was a sort of lip on the roof where he shot the, so on the roof, at the edge of the roof, there's a little, I don't know how you would call it, but a lip that sort of goes up. Is that correct?
Yeah. So like the soffit and fascia, the fascia of it, is that what we were talking about? I can pull it.
No, he's not blocked me yet.
Sure. And if you want to pull a picture up, that would be helpful. But
I have the.
you have an idea of how.
I know Gray Hughes has that picture. I don't know if I have that exact picture, but what I do have is I do have the 3D model. If that will help, is that we?
Well, my question is kind of where he shot. Is there that lip, let's call it, that is going up, and how high if you know how high that goes up?
You're saying that the surface from where he's shooting from isn't flush with the end of it.
I thought it was like flat, and then there was like a little like doop, up there.
That's a good question. I believe that is flush with the end of that, but I will.
Okay, because the question was, could you just roll off of it?
You know what we do have? I do have a photo of that. Hold on, I didn't understand what you were asking me. And I actually do have a photo of that particular picture. There we go. Actually, I'm gonna open this up, and then I'm going to keep it in there, and we're gonna. All right, so I'll share this. Remove that. Let's image. No, that's wrong.
Come on, Gary. Come on.
I will entire screen. All right. So what I do have here, let me make sure this shows up, is where did that image go? Oh, that's not it. Holy crap. I just pulled it up. Let me do this. All right. Can you see that picture?
Yeah. So let me.
And I'm gonna make this as big as possible.
Yeah.
I can't see what you're seeing. So is that full screen now?
Yeah.
All right.
So I guess it was. So I guess the question was, if he is firing downward at Charlie, he would. He couldn't sort of take a flat shot going.
So this is flush essentially right here. This is not an increased lip. I don't know if you.
No, I agree with that.
Okay.
And so I guess the question was, if he is, in the prone position, it's unclear kind of how close to the edge that prone position, I guess, is. And he would have to be, I think, angling down on that with that gun, which means that the barrel would be off the.
No, so you're going to just, again, he's with a natural, we call this unsupported prone, right? So I'm actually creating elevation with my elbows. We can see how close he is there. If we zoom in a little bit here, you can see that the impressions, these are markers. These are markers.
There's another picture of that from a different angle that's also pretty helpful.
So, but regardless, what he's doing is, again, this is where it is. I'm creating elevation and clearance from the ground to here. Like there's plenty of angle there possible. Like he has.
What's up, Enraged? Good to see you in here.
It's only 9 degrees, so it's like 9.17 or something like that. I have that, so it's not a severe angle. It's not nothing. I mean,
would you assume? So I guess what you're saying is basically he would not. He could sort of not have that barrel pointing off of the roof. He could sort of fire that from where he was, and that's sort of all to the good there. Is that sort of what you're?
There's nothing there that creates any sort of impediment or decreases his line of sight or anything like that. And this will give us here we go, lossy ability perspective. You can kind of see here, and it's not perfect representation, but again, what we have here, let me pull this up.
Right. And I guess not totally.
And we shall see. We're still waiting on that as far as I know. But now if Blake Bednards is if he is correct, and he does actually have video that has a direct line of sight of that edge and of, or if there is video of that, that is out there that can be released. Hopefully this does get released. According to him, there is video that shows Tyler Robinson or whoever was up there never making it up to the edge of the roof, like by quite a bit. And so that would be a huge problem if that's the case, because just let me tell you, it would not have been hard at all to walk up there and kneel down and make the marks in the gravel yourself after the fact, and then put some markers down and take pictures, right? I mean, so we can't really say that because there's marks up there by the edge, that's definitive proof that Tyler Robinson went all the way out to the edge and took the shot. If there is indeed video that shows that he didn't, that's going to be a problem.
So that's a really good representation of what, and you can kind of see what.
Yeah. I hear that. I think a couple of things that were pointed out was, when Phil Lyman came out of the door and said, was that a shot? People were not reacting to that shot in a way that, and this is what, people have sort of brought this up. People were not reacting to that shot in a way that you would expect them to. Rather, they were, it seemed as if they did not notice a shot had come from the alleged place of the shot, but were more cowering behind the thing because they felt it might be coming from the crowd. I suppose you can explain that by saying, and then also you have this thing to the right, with the, I think it was the picture or the video, the short video of one person saying he can't, he ran across, from there to there.
Yeah, from the Hall of Flags footage.
Not the Hall of Flags footage, although the Hall of Flag footage shows a person who is pointing after the shot to a different place. But
not a different place. It's the exact same place.
So this would have been I think it was given to Deseret Digital, and I think it was of the sort of black figure on the roof where somebody is saying. If you open your pictures again, that was on the right.
Let me remove this real quick. And then
Hey, I saw the comment about the spaces, so that just reminded me. If by some small chance this somehow makes it in front of Danks or one of the others involved in that space, or if anybody in the chat has a direct line or any way to get in touch with any of those people that are going to be speaking, I am going to try. I'm going to request a mic and try to speak at that. But I don't know if it'll get approved. I would hope so. Maybe, hopefully, we'll see. But if anybody does have a way to get a hold of anybody there, please let them know that I'd love to join in on the conversation, and I am going to try to request a mic when they have that spaces later.
And I will show you.
So I guess the question there was, is he in the right position to be there and make that downward angle if he's kind of where that is? It was also a question of if he did make that shot, why didn't the people who were literally right there that is being fired over?
Yes, thank you, Crystal. I'm definitely going to hit her. I'm definitely going to hit her up. I mentioned it yesterday, but I'm going to reach back out today and see if she can't give him a holler.
Why did they not react to that? And then also, can you hit that?
Thank you, Crystal.
At the C2 or whatever the surgeon or person doing the medical examination or autopsy or surgeon said. In that report that was given to Colvette and Stephen Gardner, or does that not make sense? And Candace had also kind of changed.
All right, so let's slow some things down and kind of address these one at a time, because you hit a lot of things that I don't mind sitting here going over it all night if you want.
Yes, Crystal. Thank God. I appreciate that little group. We're gonna get some more. We're gonna get some more good folks in there, added in there. Yes, absolutely.
So here.
Shout out, Brett. Good idea, buddy.
Is the Bartholomew footage.
Love one another is referencing the Bible. It's
a couple of things to know about the Bartholomew footage. Out of the audio, it is by far the best. I don't know how much you know about like camera audio or whatever else. He has a more expensive, a better microphone that's going to have much higher dynamic range, which means it's going to it's going to be more realistic. So we have better lows and better highs on this. And by the way, whatever I hear right now is going to be different than what many of you guys hear, because you also are going to have audio processing even in your phones or however you're listening to this, right? But most of the other shots, which is very common, I shoot a lot of videos of shooting guns with my phone. I try to avoid that, and I use a more expensive camera with a much better audio source, audio mic that has much higher dynamic range, so we can get some differentiating audio, so you can kind of tell the difference between different rounds. Or the other thing, like I'm always testing like suppressors and things like that. So when I'm doing videos like that, I want the best audio source so that I can most realistically relay how the audio sounds as I'm recording. Hopefully that makes sense. When you record, which most people were, when you're recording audio of a gunshot, especially, or anything loud with a phone, it has built-in compression that's going to sound completely different than the audio actually is. So for instance, if I went out there and I shot a 30 caliber rifle, a 5.56 and a 22, I'm just telling you right now, like, it is kind of hard to distinguish, or especially if I just fire one of those three. I'm like, hey, I'm not going to tell you which one of these three. I got a 30 cal, 5.56, and a 22. I'm going to fire one of them, and I'm going to videotape the sound nearby it. And most people aren't going to be able to tell me accurately. Most of the time, they're going to be 33% of them are going to be right.
And I should say, this isn't the video I was mentioning. Although I do think that the Adam Bartholomew video is very much an example of footage that sort of goes from place to place, filming what is meant to be filmed, and provides a lot.
Hey, exactly right. This guy must watch Baron Coleman. It really, really seems like Adam Bartholomew from Life is Driving seems like he was just always in the right place at the right time to kind of support that Fed narrative. He can say he just randomly stopped here, but like the dude videotaped more tops of buildings than anybody I've ever seen, especially somebody that was there to record an event, not just the roofs of the events. But yes, very, very, it was very coincidental how much he got the building roofs in there, and of course some other convenient spots too. Yes, absolutely.
Of material that is.
I'm going to show this video, and my point of showing this video is that when you're talking like down in the atrium down there, you are going to in that oh God, what's that area called? That whole area. Anyways, the even when I was there, the acoustics of it are crazy. Like you hear people talking, like sound is bouncing all over the place, and so you're not going to get good directional sound from a round that's coming from a different location over the top of people's heads. I don't doubt. And by the way, you can actually see in the Bartholomew footage, a lot of people do look in the direction of that. The fact that other people hear it bouncing off of walls or whatever else, nothing surprised me there. But I do want us to look at where we now have these people that are on the second floor. When the shot goes off, they clearly look at, and they don't know what it is. They don't respond to it like a gunshot, and because they're not expecting it, and then they think it's fireworks or whatever else. A lot of these things. So, for instance, I have a good friend that was a former Green Beret. He was at the Route 66 event and his wife was actually killed at that event. He's a Green Beret, and when the gunshots started going off, I asked him, I was like, hey, what was your take? And he's like, I thought they were fireworks. They didn't sound like gunshots to me. And the next thing you know, his wife was killed. He still lives here in this area. And anyways, the point is like, even people that have been around gunfire a lot in environments like this, man, trying to exactly pinpoint anything. But anyways,
I think this would have been closer to like
Jesus.
Hey, I may have missed that little back and forth, guys. I'm keeping an eye on the chat there. Somebody post that link in the comments if it'll let you. That'd be I'd like to see that.
30 feet away or 50 feet. I'm not exactly sure. I know it would have been up, but
30 feet away from what?
It's well. So this is where Phil Lyman went.
And Crystal, yes, I'll just tell you what. I mean, she seems pretty childish a lot. That is one thing that I just have not been able to handle. So yeah, you're absolutely right on that.
And out of the UVU building to ask, hey, did you hear that? It sounded like a gun or something. And if you show that picture that you pulled up of your sort of reconstruction, it's literally sort of fired right over their heads where Phil Lyman comes out. So this, where we're seeing right here, is a lot further away, and it's also the building is blocking the source of where the.
I wanted to keep playing that because I couldn't remember if there was anything good at the end, but I'm starting to gather that there wasn't. They're just kind of going on and on and on about the sound. I had actually thought there was a little more of that left, but regardless, it's took us an hour to get through this, and I do have that hard stop. Guys, I so appreciate y'all showing up. I was worried to death because I put that wrong day in there that I was going to end up sitting here all by myself. But thank y'all for noticing. Thank y'all for showing up. That means everything. I really, really appreciate it. It's not the same if I'm just sitting here like I've said before when I first started this. It makes it a little more difficult when you're sitting here and you feel like you're just talking to the wall. Because my first few streams, obviously, there was just a little 0 up at the top. And obviously that has changed, and I just absolutely love it. Appreciate all the support and the love. Guys, and I'm not, hey Joey, you're a little late coming in. I'm sorry, we just winding up, but hey, I'll tell you what, I'll be live again in the morning. Make sure you come back. Yes, like, comment, hype. Anybody that is in that chat right now, if you're not subscribed, please do. When you're small as I am at the beginning, YouTube tends to not help very much on pushing it out. So once you get to a certain point, subscriber count wise, they start helping a lot more. And of course, lots of likes and hype comments after the fact. All that helps also. And share. If you've got X or Facebook or whatever, hey, share the links around. Get it out there, and we'll get this thing growing. But I really, really, really appreciate y'all again. And I just want to remind everybody, I'm not monetized yet, so if anybody can and will, I would really appreciate it. I do have 3 links in the description of the video. I should have those links should be in most all of the recent videos. But anyway, I've got a Venmo, I've got a Cash App, and a PayPal. Anything you can do really helps. So I'm not monetized yet, but those StreamYard and PayPal, YouTube Premium bills and all that keep coming around month after month. So hopefully we'll get monetized soon. Yeah, but like I said, if anybody I would much appreciate it. And we'll do that until I can get monetized. So, guys, I'm going to have to cut out of here. I'm going to have to do some real work. Again, thank y'all so much. And look, y'all plan on being back here tomorrow. That is one reason why I like to make the post. So be expecting a post in addition to the thumbnail popping up, and make for sure that the dates line up. And if they don't, please comment and ask me what the hell. But yes, I will try to get the date right this time. Should be here tomorrow morning. I plan on it unless something changes. Guys, thank y'all. Love y'all. And I'll see y'all back here very soon.